Well, hi everyone. Taylor with Prep Talk here. Just in kind of a continuing series with regards to my experiences in Hurricane Katrina, how we were caught in the hurricane and how we escaped. In my last video, I mentioned what it was like on Sunday at the church we attended and the checklist that we went over and how it was an attempt to make sure everyone was prepared so that regardless of what happened the next day, when the hurricane hit land, everyone would be prepared. Well, it was really interesting when we got up Monday morning. We still had every intention of attending this real estate auction in Meridian, Mississippi. And we got up, it was all overcast and it was starting to rain lightly. And we then went and made sure our car was filled up with gas and then took off, headed on down to the county courthouse so we could register and participate in this auction. We were actually quite surprised that they were moving forward with it because the projected trajectory of this hurricane was going to take it right through Meridian, and nevertheless they were moving forward with this. And so we went in and all got registered and all got ready for the auction. And just as we began, it was at about a little bit before 11 a.m. All of a sudden they came in and said, immediately evacuate the building. The auction has been canceled. The hurricane is heading right for us. You're to evacuate immediately. And so we obviously did that very thing, but it was so unique. And once again, this was still at this stage such a curiosity for us. I mean, I live in earthquake territory. A hurricane is never going to be a problem for where I live in the Intermountain West, but we were interested to see what it would really be like being in the middle of a hurricane. And the next thing that took place really was interesting to us because as we left the courthouse and headed towards our car, we experienced a torrential downpour to the extent that I had never, ever even dreamed about. It honestly, sincerely felt like buckets of warm water were being poured on us. It was so fun. We were laughing our heads off as we were running to the car. These buckets and buckets of water, it wasn't cold, it was warm water. It was really a bizarre feel, almost like you were in the shower, but it was just unbelievable. So by the time we got in the car, we were obviously totally drenched. We made it back to our hotel and immediately turned on the TV to see that indeed the hurricane had hit the New Orleans area, devastated the Gulfport area where we were planning on staying. Was headed straight for us. It did hit with a Cat 5 rating, and a lot of damage was being done. And then there was all these different news flashes and things coming on for our particular area. And one thing was that they said that they were going to initiate an area-wide curfew beginning at 12 noon. And so my boy and I looked at each other, whoa, wait a minute. I mean, we've got nothing here. We have no food. We have no provisions of any kind. So we thought, oh my gosh, we got to go out and we've got to get something. I mean, we only got about a half an hour before this curfew is initiated, and we're going to be in bad shape. So we jumped in the car and immediately started taking, as soon as we took out of the parking lot, boom, all the power went off in Meridian. All the power was off. And oh, this is great. So every store that we pulled up to, no, you couldn't get in. There was no power. And I thought, oh my gosh, we're in bad shape here. And so as we're driving back to our hotel, we happened to notice one gas station. The doors were open. It was dark inside. The doors were open and there were a few cars there. And so I told my boy, quick, pull over. So we pulled over and I jumped out of the car really quick to go see if we could get anything, because it was one of those gas stations that had kind of a little mini mart there with a little small grocery store inside. So I ran inside and there were a bunch of people, and it was kind of weird because there's no power in there, and there were people. They weren't looting at this point, but they were getting pretty aggressive, and people were just grabbing things. And I went immediately over. They had one of these little I don't know what to call it, kind of like a potato bar thing where it's like a salad bar, but they have some fried chicken and some potato logs and some different things like that in there. And there was just a few pieces left. And so I grabbed a few pieces of chicken, a few potato logs. I went over to the cooler and grabbed some Gatorade and some different drinks like that. And then I went up to pay and realized, oh my gosh, the credit cards aren't going to work. if you don't have cash, you're out of luck. And luckily, I had enough cash in my pocket that I was able to go ahead and pay for that. But a really disturbing and dark feeling came over me at that time that I honestly will never, ever forget. You know, as human beings, you would hope that we would all have a feeling of brotherly love and kindness and desire to help and assist those that are in need. But I'm here to tell you, when it comes down to getting the provisions that you need to feed you and your family, those feelings go out the window. It's sad, but they do. You don't feel like, oh, here, let me give you some of my food because it looks like you need some, or let me let you buy this when it's only the last one there. It's like, I will do whatever it takes to keep my family from going without. And if it's got to come to blows or whatever's going to happen, so be it. But I'm not going to let my family go without. And it was a terrible, dark feeling. Something that I hope I will never have to repeat. But I was able to get what we needed, able to get back in the car, and we got back to the hotel. We're able to ration out our food and then prepare for the next day. And I'll fill you in again. Thanks.